The Aspen soldiers charge forward, shouting that they will show the pride of the Grey Dogs and fight to the death. Their voices roar across the battlefield, echoing through the chaos of clashing steel and rising dust. One of the Grey Dogs swings his massive club with wild fury, but Auden effortlessly blocks it with his bare hand. The soldiers nearby freeze in disbelief at the sight of such strength. With a confident laugh, Auden tells the Grey Dog that he will answer that courage by sending him to the Lord's side. His tone is almost playful, but his eyes gleam with a deadly light. With deadly intent, Auden's fist crashes into the Grey Dog's head in the next instant, and the sound of shattering bone echoes sharply. The Grey Dog collapses lifelessly, its skull crushed in one brutal blow. Andrew Gardner's eyes widen in shock. He can't believe what he just saw. Auden blocked a weapon bare-handed and didn't even get a scratch. What kind of muscles are those? What kind of monstrous strength hides behind that calm exterior? Seeing Auden's power, Incrid blushes slightly and says with a teasing grin, "This guy actually looks kind of useful, too." Rim, unwilling to be outdone, charges forward with his axe raised high, his steps thundering like an oncoming beast. But at that very moment, Ragnar swings his sword with terrifying precision, slicing through a Grey Dog soldier and nearly cutting Rim in the process. Rim barely avoids Ragnar's slash, the blade slicing through the air close enough to graze his hair. He glares furiously and yells at Ragnar, calling him a mad, lazy bastard, demanding to know if he was trying to slice him up, too. Ragnar, completely indifferent and calm as ever, replies with a faint smirk that it's a shame Rim dodged it. His nonchalance only infuriates Rim more. Before he can respond, another Grey Dog soldier rushes toward Ragnar, screaming with desperate courage. But Ragnar sidesteps effortlessly and pierces the soldier through. Bands the throat in one clean motion. Blood sprays across the ground as Ragnar's cold expression doesn't change at all. While hacking off another Grey Dog's head, Rim mutters that one day he'll hack Ragnar to pieces. Ragnar, still provoking him, asks mockingly, "One day? Why not today? Are you scared?" The tension between them rises again, even amid the chaos. About to erupt, Rim shouts toward Auden, telling him to inform his god that Ragnar will soon send him a good friend. Auden just smiles and calmly answers that the Lord says he doesn't like friends like that. From behind them, a voice cries out, clearly fed up with their constant bickering, "Are you seriously going to fight now, in the middle of a battlefield?" One of the Grey Dog soldiers, seeing the disarray, shouts for his comrades to encircle the mad squad while they're split apart from within. But before they can execute their plan, Jackson moves. Like a shadow, he swiftly cut through all of them before anyone realized what was happening. The bodies dropped almost silently. Looking at his quarreling squad mates, Jackson muttered idiots under his breath. Incrid, their captain, told the others that there was no need to kill every single Grey Dog. They were already mostly wiped out anyway. At that moment, a sharp glint of light flashed from the bushes, and Jackson immediately noticed it. His instincts screamed danger. Someone fired an arrow toward Incrid, but Jackson intercepted it in an instant before Incrid could even react. The arrow clattered uselessly to the ground. Incrid looked at it and asked quietly, "Are they here?" Jackson nodded grimly. "Yeah, it's the Hawk's tone." The name alone made the air around them tense. Picking up the arrow, Rim smirked and asked Incrid if he knew the difference between a sniper and a hunter. Incrid blinked, caught off guard. Caught off guard by the sudden question, Rim continues without waiting for an answer. His voice is low but brimming with excitement as he says, "Hunters are way more fun than snipers. Especially axe hunting. That's the real thrill." Incrid, half confused and half concerned, asks what he's trying to say. Holding the arrow between his fingers, Rim replies that if one receives a gift, one should give one back. Without another word, he dashes off the cliffs toward the direction of the Hawk's Talon, moving with wild, reckless energy. Then watches him go and exclaims in surprise, asking, is he even allowed to act alone like that? Price just shakes his head and says, Rim isn't someone who will die easily. It's best to just leave him be. Andrew turns to Incrid and suggests they retreat for now, pointing out that the enemy's main force might pursue them from that side. And if we stay put, he adds, we'll become easy targets for the Hawk's Talon. Incrid nods in agreement and says they'll blind the Hawk's Talon the best way they can, and then escape. The Mad Squad then sets the enemy camp ablaze, with flames consuming tents and spreading smoke across the area as they retreat through the chaos. Watching the fire rise behind them, Incrid mutters, it seems this has become a habit. Hin, running beside him, tilts her head in confusion, not understanding what Incrid means. High above the cliff, the Hawk's Talon's vision becomes restricted by the heavy smoke. One of the soldiers accompanying him scans the area, and says it seems like the Mad Squad has slipped out of sight. He asks the Hawk's Talon what they should do next. The Hawk's Talon, calm but irritated, says, "We'll pursue them." Meanwhile, down below, the mad squad carefully climbs the cliffs, moving along narrow ledges and rocky paths. Ingrid silently thinks to himself that Rem acting alone wasn't part of the plan, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Rem is targeting Hawk's Talon, and in return, Hawk's Talon is targeting them. It's a dangerous balance, but it could work to their advantage. They'll act as bait to draw the Hawk's attention. The terrain they chose is rough and steep with little room for visibility. There's only a slim chance the Hawk can get a clear shot at them. While climbing, Ragna finds a small hollow in the rock and immediately slips into it, declaring that the spot is comfortable before lying down and trying to sleep. Andrew stares at him in disbelief, wondering how anyone could sleep in a situation like this. In his mind, Ingrid silently speaks to Rem, telling him to hunt to his heart's content. Meanwhile, Rem, moving swiftly through the forested slopes in pursuit of Hawk's Talon, thinks to himself that this brings back memories. Back in the day, he was the hunter his tribe had high hopes for. An exceptional hunter, unmatched with the axe. He knows he can't return to that time now that he's left, but he can still summon those memories for a moment. Creeping closer to the Hawks from behind, Rem's breathing steadies, his eyes sharp with focus. From the first moment they met, he had already decided Hawk's Talon was his prey. Up ahead, one of Hawk's Talon's guards comments that the Med Squad members are escaping along awkward angles, making pursuit difficult. The commander of Hawk's Talon simply replies that it's just stalling. He won't lose his target. But before the guard can finish praising his commander, Rem's axe flashes and the guard's head is severed cleanly, his body dropping to the dirt. Another soldier immediately screams, "Ambush," and shouts for everyone to scatter. But the forest itself seems to favor Rem. He dashes between the trees, moving with the speed and precision of a seasoned predator. His eyes gleam with thrill as he hunts down the fleeing soldiers one by one. One by one, they fall. The sound of steel slicing through flesh mixes with the crunch of boots on leaves. One after another, they fall. Only one soldier remains now, trembling in terror. Seeing Rem charging at him like a hungry hound, the man screams in pure fear. Hearing his dying soldier's cries, the Hawk's Talon turns sharply, thinking, when did that barbarian get here? There wasn't even a sign of his approach. Rem is already upon him. The Hawk's Talon mutters that the hunt is always on his side and fires an arrow while running, but Rem swings his axe mid-stride, splitting the arrow in two before it reaches him. In the same motion, he hurls the axe, and the blade buries deep into the Hawk's Talon's shoulder. The archer crashes to the ground, screaming in pain. "Stop whining," Rem growls, walking toward him slowly like a predator savoring its prey. "Use more strength, Hawk brat." The Hawk's Talon glares up at him, blood trickling from his mouth, his hands shaking as he tries to reach for another arrow. But Rem is already holding one of his arrows. With a cold smile, he tells him, "It's a rare hunt. Don't end it so boringly." The Hawk's Talon grits his teeth, his rage mixing with helplessness. But before he can act, Rem plunges the arrow straight into his throat. The man convulses briefly before collapsing in silence. Looking down at the corpse, Rem scoffs and mutters, "Lame to the end." Pulling his axe free from the body, he sighs and says he had hoped the Hawk's Talon would at least suffer longer, enough to let him brush up on his rusty hunting skills. Then he pauses, a sudden thought striking him. He's starting to sound exactly like the captain. He realizes that after being around the captain for so long, he must have picked up some of his habits without noticing. The captain always accepts that he lacks talent, yet he keeps thinking about how to move forward to the next step. If Rem also learns to adopt that same accepting, reconciled attitude and make it his own, maybe he'll understand what it truly means to grow stronger. Maybe nothing will change, but he can at least try. Just like the captain does, again and again, without hesitation.